What's up, guys, and welcome to the Heritage Agendas Football Podcast. This is episode number one. I am Ibrahim. I'm joined with Abdi. Abdi, how we doing?
Good, bro. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. You excited for tomorrow?
I am. The Arsenal are back, Season
Yeah.
opener.
Yes.
Season opener at Crystal Palace.
Yep.
I
Hoping
think
to
I
do
think we're
better than
ready.
last year. Better than last year,
Uh,
hopefully.
I don't talk about those days.
That's
We are
true.
we are we are we are past that.
I'm just a Madrid fan, so I just sit.
hmm
I don't listen. I just go on Twitter and I enjoy the trolling, and that's it. I don't have to like have emotion. It's good. It's the best. I have my emotion for
You
my
you
Madrid
you
games.
enjoy the agendas.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
hmm
Today we're going to be going through our expectations for the season, talking about our tables, team by team. We're going to see what differences we have. We're obviously going to have differences between the two of us, and I mean we're definitely going to have some clips at the end of the season that we're going to look back on and be like, "Wow, I don't know what we were thinking." But I mean that's part of the game, no?
Not for me. I'm going 20 for 20. This might be the first ever perfect Premier League table. I'm not even joking.
I actually wonder if it's been done before. I'm curious. I think I don't know, maybe, probably by sheer luck, someone has done it. There's always like one or two like what the hells.
Yeah,
I mean,
you never know.
if I get 6 to 8 of these teams, I'm happy. That's
There were people that bet on Leicester when they won the league, So it's not.
dude. I don't even want to look at the Prem predictions for that season.
Yeah,
Everyone was probably like miserable. Leicester winning
exactly.
and all these randomness, yeah. All right, let's get into it. Let's see. Do we agree on the bottom?
Um, I think so. I think this is everyone's bottom. I have Bournemouth 20th.
Okay.
All right. So what do you think about them?
I mean, they pretty much have brought in no one, right? They brought in Tavernier from Middlesbrough. They brought in Frederick Son of
Mm-hmm.
Free. They lost Gary Cahill.
Mm-hmm.
I like Scott Parker. I think he's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
They finished second last season, but just the other two teams and the other teams around them have got so much better. They've spent Nottingham spent 100 million, I think. Leeds have
Mm-hmm.
spent like 140 million gross. Um, and Fulham have spent a lot as well. I think 100, 110 million. So those three teams who have been in and around relegation, I'm just like listing the two teams that came up with them and the teams that finished 17th. Like look how much better they've gotten. And
Yeah.
Bournemouth have spent nothing. Like I just those championship players, they're gonna rely on Solanke a lot. But I don't think they have the squad.
And Solanke, he had a really good year last year. I think he had 29 goals in the championship. They also have Lewis Cook, who's young, who's an excellent midfielder.
Yeah.
And Ryan Christie.
Yep.
But their season in August, they're playing Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool back to back to back. So right out of the gate, they are getting Premier League's best of the best, and I
Yeah.
think that how you do in your first month probably sets the tone. How
Yeah.
you do in your first month and how you finish the season are what determines who gets relegated. And I think that's going to be tough for them. Man City, forget Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool alone, that sets you back
Guaranteed
a
probably
long
zero
way. Yeah,
points. Yeah.
exactly.
I mean
Yeah,
they've
and
go ahead, sorry.
no, I agree with you 100%. I think City and Liverpool and Arsenal, it's pretty hard to overcome in your first month,
It is.
especially after doing nothing in the summer.
Yeah. Who you got right above them?
Right above them, I have Leeds United as
Okay.
the 19th.
Okay. Why? Because I have them
Um,
way higher.
well, you're wrong. First of all, let's just put that out there. They've obviously lost Rafinha and
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips to Barcelona and Man City respectively.
Yeah.
Um, last year they survived on the last day, and I don't think they got that much better. Um, I think last year they would have been a lot better if Bamford played a little bit more. He only played 9 games in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But they signed a lot of like good players. They signed Um, let's see, Brendan Aronson from
Yep.
Salzburg.
Yep.
Luis Sinistera from Feyenoord. But I think those are not win now players. I think they're building blocks for the future. And in the Premier League, when you're scheduled like it's the Premier League, that's as tough as it gets. I don't think a 21-year-old, a 23-year-old, Tyler Adams, a 23-year-old, as talented as he is, are not going to come in immediately make a difference. I think they will be there for a long time and hopefully bring them back up. But I don't think this season. I don't think they're much. They're just gonna survive with whoever they have left over from last year's team.
I have them at 14th. I think for a team to lose their best two players easily last season, Rafinha
Mm-hmm.
and Phillips, I like their
Mm-hmm.
coach. I like Jesse Marsch. He has good experience with Leipzig and Salzburg. He's bringing in a lot of players he's worked with, which I think is a big deal.
Yes.
I mean, Aronson, Adams, Sinistera, Christensen, Roca, Giabi. Those are six players that probably five at least are going to start the majority of games. And they have guys in places. They have Marlier, who I think is a really, really good Premier League keeper. They have Bamford, who, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
has to stay healthy. But he did do it his first season. His first season, he was good.
He
I think
did. Yes, he was
he had over
excellent.
over ten
He's really
goals.
good. Yeah.
So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if those guys can perform, I have them the 14th. I don't think that they're going to be kind of like, like Aston Villa was last season. They're going to be like in that 14 to 16 area, but you're not going to ever feel like they have a
Yeah.
huge threat of going down.
Um, I think all the players you listed, I think you're right. I just don't see them like performing what you expect. I think their coach is excellent. I think when I hear him speak, I think I like believe in him. I think
Yeah.
he spoke very well of Rafinha when he was leaving.
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips. I think they have somebody they can right the ship. After this season with all these young players, but I think in the Premier League, like you need players, you need bodies that
You
are
do.
going to be on the field, that are even if they're a little bit better. I think that helps you in the long run. I don't think you can plug in 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 23-year-old into a lineup
It's
in
true.
their first season in the Premier League.
I have Brentford 19. I think they are going to suffer from second season syndrome. They remind me a lot of Sheffield from last season, who
Mm-hmm.
finished 20th after they were almost in Europe. Sheffield, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they lose their whole identity. They lost Eriksson. I think they finished the season really, really poor. I think Eriksson was the reason that they stayed up, and the reason that you never felt that they had the biggest chance to go down. They replaced him with
Mm-hmm.
Damsgaard, who's a good playmaker, but they got Strakosha, who's good. I like their coach. They're big on analytics, but I just think that they're gonna struggle. I don't see them doing well at all.
I have them 17th, and we're on the same page. I think Christensen, like what they did him a solid. He did them, and he repaid them 10 times
He
over.
did, Eric. Yep.
Um, yeah, and that was a gamble they took, especially after what he suffered.
Yeah.
But he's a really good player. He's Premier League proven, experienced, all that stuff. I think they're gonna miss him a lot. I
Yeah.
have him 17th.
So you have him just barely
And
above
then
relegation.
for 18th, who do you have?
I got Fulham, which is harsh because they've had a very good summer.
Very harsh. And
Very.
I have him 14th in the league.
Okay.
I But tell me why you think they're
I think they've had a really good summer. I just think that all the teams above them, bar Southampton, I can see. I don't know. They lost Fabio Carvalho, who was
mm-hmm.
probably their second best player last season. They lost
Mm-hmm.
him to Liverpool, which is going to hurt because that was their big playmaker. They didn't really get a playmaker to replace him. There was not really a one-to-one fit. So I'm curious to see how they line up. I like Leno. I like Painha from Sporting and Mbabu from Wolfsburg. And Pereira's a really good free transfer. I just,
Yeah.
I don't know if they can play the same style. But I mean, if Mitrovic can get them 10 to 15 goals, I think that'll be like a common theme I'm saying for all these teams in and around relegation. If your star striker can get you double digits, then I think they can stay up. they scored goals last season in the championship, which was
An
usually what we look
incredible
for.
amount of goals last year.
Yeah,
Mitrovic himself had 43 goals. I think he broke pretty much every
every
record
record.
possible.
It's insane.
Um, and they as a team broke every record possible, like goal scoring wise. Um, but I think you're underestimating how good Bernd Leno is. I think Bernd Leno alone is gonna he's good enough to the point where like you can rely on him as a he's gonna get you a point here or there in those games where it's like instead of losing 2-1, you're tying. He can save a goal here. Um, and I think Marco Silva, he's a really good coach.
He is.
Um, I think his last team was what, Everton.
I think so.
Everton is where you go to die. I think pretty much. That's not a. I don't think. I don't think you should judge anybody on Everton. But he's built a really good team. Around his striker,
Yeah,
Mitrovic, who when they were last in the Premier League, he only started 13 games,
yeah.
which is ridiculous. I don't think that's
That definitely
obviously
won't
play
happen again.
style and all. Yeah, obviously play style and all that stuff. I think he scored more goals for his country than he did for Fulham that season. I think he only had
Wow.
4 goals in those 13 games. But obviously he's gotten a lot better. He has a coach that believes in him,
Yeah.
that has built a team around him. And I think they have some key signings. I think Pereira's going to help.
Hmm.
Um, Leno's going to help,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then and I trust their coach.
So you have you
I
have
have Fulham 14th all the way
okay.
up. I think they're safe. I think they don't have to worry about relegation at any point of the season. I
Hmm.
as long as Mitrovic is performing, I think he's the big question mark. But I think he's gotten better. Anytime where like we see strikers coming into the Premier League where they had a really good season, like but he had like a legendary season that no one will in Fulham will ever forget what he did last season.
Yeah.
So I think expecting 15 goals from him is not too much to ask
It's
for.
not. I mean, there's like, there's something when, when someone has 25 goals in the championship, you say, oh, okay, he's going to have a difficulty. But he's just so much better than everyone else last season in the
He's
championship.
shattered everything. 40,
Absolutely.
43 goals is
It's
absurd.
ridiculous.
Absurd.
Yeah. Who do you have as your third relegation team?
I have 18th. I have Southampton.
Okay.
Um, First of all, Southampton. They've been bottom five for the last 2 years. Last
Yeah.
year and the year before.
Yeah.
Um, their coach has been there since 2018. I don't. He's probably has had the safest job ever in the Premier League, which is pretty crazy for someone that runs Southampton.
Yeah.
Last year they opened the season with 1 win in their first 9 games,
Wow.
and then they ended the season 1 win in their last 12 games. I think that alone is a sackable offense. Um, and they're basically just just surviving on luck. Um, they haven't done anything. They haven't done any outstanding business.
No.
They brought in Romeo Lavia from
Yeah.
City, Gavin Bazunu from City, and then their big signing, Joe
Masaribo.
Aribo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think those are young players. I think you need those players for the future, especially from an academy like Cities. That's not bad business at all.
No.
But but I don't think Southampton is going to get away with finishing 15th again. I think they're done for.
It helps him so
Get them
much to
out of
have
here.
Ward Prowse on Ward Prowse and set pieces. I mean,
Oh
if you
my
can, it
goodness.
helps so
He
much.
he's special, man. Get him out of there. Get him to a real team.
He needs to go to a better team. Just how good he is on set pieces, free kicks and corners. They score so much from those. That helps them get so many
Tr-
points.
tr- Trust me. I'm pretty sure he hits the post every game we play against him.
Really.
He's terrifying. He's terrifying.
Yeah. I have Nottingham Forest there, just escaping relegation.
At 18,
At 17, I have Fulham.
at 17th. Okay. Fulham 18th, and then you have
Forest
Nottingham
17.
17th.
Yes, I really like what they did in the summer. I like Dean Henderson a lot. I like Niakate, I think, from the relegation teams, Fulham, Bournemouth, and Forest, I think that was the best signing from any of those three teams. I think he's going to be really good. They play a back
Mm-hmm.
five. I think that's going to help them a lot. And they bring in
Yes,
Premier League experience. Meme or not, Lingard is going to help them. I think he's going to do well.
he's gonna fit in perfectly into that system.
And they brought in Nico Williams from Liverpool. They
Mm-hmm.
had they had a very good summer. I think they brought a ridiculous amount of players, over 10 for sure.
They, I was looking at their team. They have a new signing for every position,
Yeah,
and then they have a loan. And then they loaned out. Oh, they got Dean Henderson
from
in loan
Manchester
from
United.
Man
Yeah,
United. So
yep.
like I have them 12th. I think Jesse Lingard.
Wow.
Um, I know this, the aura around him and all that stuff, but if you give the ball to him and tell him to go run at the defense, I think he's a really good player. He's talented.
Hmm.
Um, and this is what they haven't been in the Premier League for over 20 years.
It's been a while,
So
yeah,
this
and
is,
they
yeah,
came in through playoffs.
yep. And I think Steve Cooper is their coach.
Yep,
He's a really good coach.
yep.
Um, and then and then last year they played really well in the FA Cup. They beat Arsenal. They beat Leicester City,
Hmm.
Huddersfield, and then they gave Liverpool a good game. They lost 1-0, but they were competitive.
I'm
So
excited. I'm excited to see how their defense is going to be what I'm going to watch. Niakate, I'm really, really excited. I think that was a very, very serious signing, especially for a team just got promoted. One of the best young
mhm.
French center backs. So I'm excited to see. I think they're gonna have a lot of grindy games where they're gonna get a couple results where you're gonna look and scratch your head a little bit.
Yeah, but I think they're safe. They did enough to stay. And they have Jesse Lingard on a 1-year contract,
Yeah,
which is a bargain, I think, for
yeah.
them.
Who's your 16?
16th I have Everton.
Okay, we agree.
Okay, Everton, please take the floor because I'm gonna start fuming. I
I mean, they literally were. Last season was horrific. I think Calvert Lewin has declined
absolutely,
a lot. I think they lost easily their best player in Richarlison.
yes,
And he carried them last season. All those double-digit goals, assists, everything, and they had such a horrific summer and a horrific preseason. Tarkowski is going to help. They have good players at each position. McNeil is
yeah,
good, but I think 20 million is not that good of business, to be honest. I think you can do better. Um,
yeah.
and there's huge question marks about their coach Lampard. But I mean, to be fair to Lampard, and I've been harsh on him in the past, they haven't really given him anything to work with.
I don't think he's earned the right to be given anything. I don't think he's proven anything. He's at Derby he had a really good season.
Yeah,
Chelsea he finished top four once, and then the
collapsed.
he was given 250 million, and then it was over. I don't think he's a coach you can. He's a prove it guy.
Yeah,
You play well, then we reward you. But Richarlison, he's an incredible player. He's a hard worker. He's a good finisher. And then Calvin Lewin, man, that he hasn't been good for two
he has
years.
fallen off a
Um,
cliff.
he ever since the Euros, like he's just been. So
I just don't know where their goals are going to come from. Dele Alli, Calvert Lewin,
yeah,
Iwobi,
mm-hmm.
and Damari Gray. Those are their four up front.
Yeah. I
It's not
and
good.
Damari Gray I don't think Damari Gray was starting games in the preseason either. Like yeah, I don't think Lampard is someone that I think he's going to be sacked pretty much.
I think I don't
It's
think
written.
I don't think he ends the season for sure. But I mean, like I said, I think he's sacked, but I don't think it'll be his fault to a T because his squad is just not good enough.
Um. So we have him 16th. We agree.
Yes.
All right. And then who do you have 15th?
I have Southampton 15. I think that they will get enough goals from set pieces. They'll grind out a couple results and they'll stay up. I don't think they've had the best summer like we talked about. But
Mm-hmm.
I think next season is the season where we start to look if they don't spend, then next season maybe they have the threat of going down.
For 15th, I have Wolverhampton.
Okay,
Where do you have them?
I have them 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I have
You
him
go
up a
ahead
little
since
bit.
you have him a little bit higher than me.
I think from all these teams, from 10 down, you could argue that they
Mm-hmm.
have the best coach. I love Bruno Lage. I think he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him in
Mm-hmm.
from Benfica. This is his
Mm-hmm.
second season. They bring back Adama. They're bringing back Hwang Hee-chan. They didn't really lose much in the summer. They only really lost
Yeah.
Sykes. I like them a lot. And last season, they really, really quietly finished mid-table. They were exactly 10th last season. They were
Yep.
only 5 points, 6 points off Europe. Like really quiet. No one talked about them. And the year before, they were in Europe. Obviously, they kept Neves. I think if they can keep Neves, then they can challenge. At least I
Yeah.
think they'll be up safely.
There hasn't been any like as much rumors as usual for him this summer.
No.
Um, but and I think what Traore returns, right?
Yep.
Traore is returning.
Yep.
That's a he's incredible.
And Podence, and
But
they kept Neto too.
yes, so I think they did enough to warrant 10th, but I have him 15th solely because I think the other teams above him are just better on paper. Um,
Okay,
who's your 14?
I had Leeds. So who did you have at 14?
I have Fulham at 14.
Okay, and we both talked. Okay, so let's move up
Yeah,
one
we
more
talked.
spot. 13.
I have Aston Villa.
Okay, why?
Who do you have?
I have Crystal Palace there. I have Villa at 11. So about the same spot.
Okay. Aston Villa. I think they have they have world class potential players. I
Yeah.
think Coutinho is incredible.
Yep.
And then they have an excellent coach who
I do like Gerard.
Gerard is a good coach. But for the most part, I think last year was a little bit up and down for them, and I think this is the year where they just level out and just play consistent football throughout the year. And they haven't. I don't think they did that much over the
They got
off
Diego
season.
Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
They brought Kamara, so they got they got a center half and a DM. They didn't really lose much, and they kept Coutinho, which was big. I think that was like their big thing.
That's him staying. I think they got him. They fully have him now, right? They
Yep,
had him
20
on loan
million.
for a little
Yep.
bit.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think they're gonna be really good. I have him 13.
They have a great keeper, Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I like him a
Arsenal
lot.
legend,
Arsenal
Arsenal
legend.
legend, Arsenal legend Martinez.
Yeah. I have
um,
I have Palace there.
Palace. Okay.
I like Vieira a lot. I really like the signing of Czech Decore. I think that
Okay.
was very good business. That was pretty much their only big signing. Palace is
Yeah,
just one of those teams where like it always feels like they're doing but they never feel like they're threatened by relegation. I'm curious to see where you have them.
I have him. I have him ninth.
Okay.
I have him really high because I'm really high on obviously Patrick Vieira. I think he's an excellent manager.
He
I think he
is.
completely changed who Crystal Palace are as a franchise.
Yeah.
The way he plays, and how hard they were playing for him last year. Um, and they gave Arsenal at least two good games. They beat
They're
us one.
very hard to play at
Um,
home.
and they beat us one game, just utterly dominated us, and then the other game we just got a point last minute. So I think they're a really good team. But they check all the boxes. Obviously, Decore is a really good signing. And
I'm
then they
s-
have the manager.
I'm surprised they kept Elise. Elise
Yeah,
is a very good player, and I'm surprised more teams didn't offer for him this summer because I think next summer he'll leave for sure.
They will miss the Chelsea loanee.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Um, man, I'm
What's
drawing a
his name?
blank. Gallagher.
Gallagher, yeah, and he he wishes to be at Crystal Palace right now.
Instead of he does, but they got
He
Decore to
does.
replace him, which is good. They got that 1-to-1 replacement, and I'm really surprised. I think Elise will go to a big team next season, and I'm talking like a top six team in the Prem or a top four team. I think it's only a matter of time. A player on his caliber will be playing European football for sure.
the thing is, we've been saying that about Wilfred Zaha for the
I
last 5 years.
know. I
So
know.
they're not a club that lets good players go.
That's true.
And then they have Edward, the striker. So
Yep.
they're they're a very good team. They
They
on
are.
paper, they have good squad depth. They have a good excellent starting 11. They have creative players. I think Zaha every year is good for 10 goals. He scored 14, I think, last year. And he's a problem. Like that is
He
someone
is.
that you have to game plan for. That's someone that you have to be aware of where he is on the pitch at all times. Um, and and Patrick Vieira, I think that's the key for me. He's a proven coach now.
He is. Who's your 12?
12th, I have Nottingham Forest.
Okay, we talked about Forest. My 12 is Brighton.
Okay, talk to me about Brian because I have him 11th.
They're a lot like Leeds. They lost their best two players. They lost
Yeah.
Cucurella, who's about to sign for Chelsea, 62 million. So we're gonna see what they do with
Yep.
that. And they lost Bissouma to Tottenham. I like them
Hmm.
bringing back Undav. He did really, really good last season. And then Colwill, they just got him
Hmm.
today, who I think is gonna help them a lot. Colwill's.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm surprised they didn't.
No, he's solid.
They kept a lot of their good players. Again, their goals. Like where are their goals gonna come from? Welbeck, Trossard. They're gonna miss Basuma. Lamptey's really good. They have good players. Solomon March. They have good players at each position, and it always feels like
Yep.
they perform well. Graham Potter's a really, really good coach. I'm wondering how many seasons he's gonna stay there because for the last couple seasons, their XG has been
He's
unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a good coach. Probably should be at a little bit bigger club, but um, the way that like he plays a top six, top 10 football as like the way he plays is really beautiful. But
Yeah,
losing Cook, I don't know how to say his name. What's his name?
Cucurella.
Cucurella, that's gonna be huge because
Yeah,
he's a problem. Um, I don't think they have a replacement for him. I don't think right away.
yeah. March is gonna fill
Um,
there, but 60 million. They have 60 million to spend now, so
they have
they
they
have to
have
get to
60
work.
million to work with.
Yeah,
That's incredible value for him, which
it is.
just says about the transfer market is insane, pretty much.
It's horrible.
Um,
There's no way he's worth
but
60 million pounds.
but when City and Chelsea are after you, I think you're solid.
Yeah, there's not
Um,
much you can do. Writing was on the wall in that case.
yeah. But he's leaving. He should be taking that next step because he's a really good player. But I think he's gonna miss Brighton because I don't think Chelsea's it at all, at
Okay.
least at the moment.
Okay. You're 11. Because mine is Villa.
I have Brighton,
Okay. Okay.
and
So
then
we'll
Villa we already
jump up to 10. Who's your 10?
10. I have Leicester City.
Okay. I have him 9.
Um, you have them 9. Okay,
Yes,
Leicester City. I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the club right now.
there is.
Um, Tillman's might go, Tillman's might stay. And now Fafana might go, Fafana might stay.
Schmeichel just
You know,
left.
exactly. So, I think they're a good team. I think Vardy's a year older. That's an issue because he was really good last year, but it didn't add up to that much success. I don't think that was the first year last year in like the last 2 years where they weren't competing for top 5, top 6. But like I don't really see it with them. I think they're obviously a good team. Like they're not going to be anything lower than 10, but they're not going to be as good as they were the last 2-3 years.
I agree. Okay, so I have him 9. Who's your 9? Because I have Wolves at 10.
I have Crystal Palace at 9.
Okay. Okay, so let's move. Who's your 8? We're moving up here
Uh,
now.
I have Newcastle for 8th.
Good. We agree. We
You,
agree.
you have Newcastle 8th as well.
I do have Newcastle 8.
All right, can you talk about Newcastle for me?
They did well. I mean, I like what they did to end the season last year. They were phenomenal. Second half of the season
Mhm.
last year. They brought in Nick Pope,
Yep.
who I like Nick Pope a lot from Burnley. Botman is a
Mhm.
very, very good signing. I think that they have really, really good center halves, and St. Maximin is so, so talented. He's gonna win them
and
points.
he's getting better. He's getting better every year. Say Maxim, he's incredible.
I love what they've
But
done since their takeover. By the way, I was expecting them to shell cash on these like old players with names, kind of like
no,
PSG.
they've yeah.
I was expecting like Cavani, Isco, these types of big names that are not as good anymore, but they are making really smart purchases.
Yeah, the that's uh, when anytime you're bought by whoever bought them with that kind of
Saudi money, yeah.
financial power, yeah, you expect a like a 300 million pound transfer window and stuff like that. I think they're run really well. But like if they continue the way they ended the season, I think they like I have them I have them eighth. I think there's no reason why they couldn't be any higher because they have a really good team.
They do.
Who's Bruno?
Bruno
Bruno came
Guimaraes,
on. Yeah,
yeah.
he's really good. He's a really good player. And they beat out a lot of teams for him.
They did, yeah. They
So,
did really well this summer too to be AC Milan to Botman,
hmm
and they brought in Chris Wood. They did had such a good January was their big window where they did really well.
yep. They desperately needed to stay up and they did. So I you can't fault them for they're doing smart things. I think obviously as this continues, I think the $200 million transfer windows are coming. Like
They
that
are,
is that's on the way. I am This is just the build up. They're building the foundation right now, and I
which
think
is good.
they're
That's
looking really
important.
good.
And
Yeah.
I think we're going to agree at 7. Who do we have at 7?
I have West Ham at 7.
Good. Okay, we agree on 8 and 7. Go ahead
Okay.
and let me know why you have them
Um,
there.
I, I think West Ham is last year they had a really good year last year. They got to the semifinals of the Europa. And then like they were in to be in the top six all the way up to like the final month of the season while playing in Europa. I think Moyes has for
He's
as
done
much
such a good
clowning he's
job.
gotten over the years, he's turned out to be a really good manager for them. They have an incredible team. So I don't think that anything like 6, 7, 5, 6, 7. I think
And
there's no.
finally bought a number 9 Smucker, man. They finally got a number 9. God knows
Oh,
how many years it's
oh,
been.
the tape on that guy is he's a
Very,
beauty to watch,
he
man.
is, he is. That was
He's
huge.
incredible.
Yep, they got Areola in on a permanent deal and Smaka, man. They finally did just to show they have faith in their coach, and I
Yeah,
think
they gave him what he needed. I think they could have went a little bit harder for Jesse Lingard. I think especially after how he played with them for them the year before. Um, but I don't think they didn't do anything wrong this offseason.
they didn't lose Rice, and
They took care of their holes, and Declan Rice is still there.
yep, and I
That's the
think
prize.
everyone thought last year with them having Europe, like a lot of teams, they focus on Europe and they're unable to keep up in the league, but they did well. They got seventh. They got
They did
European
yeah,
football.
they did and they're competing in Europe as well. So semifinals is nothing to slouch at.
All right, who's your 6? Now we're gonna start
Oh,
disagreeing. I just know because
I
I
have
know
I actually think we're gonna be on the same page.
at 6.
I know you're gonna have one team a little bit lower than I have, but six I have Man United.
Okay, I have them 5, so we both have them Europa.
Yeah. I think this is a transition year for them. Um, Ten Hag is a excellent coach,
He
but
is.
like the club is not in a good place right now.
No,
They have a lot of, as people like to say, they have a lot of deadwood,
they do.
a lot of players who are on high wages that are not performing, and those players are players that should be their future. You know, those are players that can turn it around quickly. Especially Marcus Rashford,
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho.
Yep.
You have these talented players who are just out of form, and if they do hit, they're like back in control. But they have one big thing looming over them, which is Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment.
Do you think he
Um,
stays or he leaves?
I I I think he leaves because he's Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think there's any way they're gonna hold him back from leaving. But I don't think he's gonna go anywhere of significance where leaving Man United is warranted. But he wants to play Champions League, and they're not in Champions League, so that's a non-negotiable for him. I think. I
Yeah,
and last year he carried them. Like
he did.
he
He did.
he carried
Without
them
them,
with Rashford falling off a cliff, with Jadon Sancho not performing up to his price tag, Pogba being injured, Bruno falling off a cliff, and still being rewarded with a contract. By the way, I don't know what they're doing over there, but
yeah,
um,
he was
and
so
and
bad
and
last season.
and Maguire is still there, so like that's an issue. That's
Do
a
you rate
problem.
their
But
business this summer?
I really like Lissandro Martinez. I think he's a really good player. Um, but I don't see where he plays unless he's benching one of the center
I
backs, and
think
I don't
DM.
really see that. Do you think DM?
Yeah,
He's a do it all kind of player. He can play three different positions at an elite level. So that's somebody I think Ten Hag wanted and
yeah,
got.
yeah.
Obviously, De Jong is key, I think, to their season. I think he can transform everything for them.
I think he goes
Um,
Chelsea though.
you think so?
Yeah,
If I'm De Jong, I'm staying and getting my money. I need Barca to pay me, bro.
they
I'm
will.
not
They.
leaving. I'm not leaving 17 million on the table to
That's
go play
true.
for Man United. No, no,
No, no
thank you.
chance. Ericsson is good. Malacia, I like Malacia.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think they had a good summer for the way they started. They had so many people go out on freeze, and I thought they would have sold a lot more players. I thought Juan Bissaka would have been sold this summer, but I guess no one wanted to take him with those wages. So we'll see. Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't know. I think he stays. I think he leaves in January.
You th- okay, I think that would be smarter for him. I think like January, you know where every team is at, and you can pick whatever team you want to go help win the Champions League at that time.
Yeah.
That's a perfect business decision for him.
Although everything might change if they get Sesko. So
Oh my goodness. Hopefully not.
and then okay, this is where I have Arsenal. I have them six.
Okay, you have Arsenal sixth.
I
Talk
do.
to me. Talk to me.
I really like their business. It's so harsh because
Mm-hmm.
I think you can make a really really good argument from all the top six teams. They've had the best summer. Marquinhos, Vieira, Turner, Jesus, Zinchenko, Saliba. That's phenomenal.
Yep.
That's unbelievable. Every player is going to contribute well this season. Now, I mean, this is where you start to ask questions. I think Arteta from the top six coaches is the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on Arteta to
Okay.
say he's a bad coach. I just think that
No,
Ten Hag,
the other five are excellent coaches.
the other
That's not a
five
problem
are
for me at all.
unbelievable. There's four of them. I'm looking: Guardiola, Klopp, Conte, Tuchel. Already, those four are unbelievable. Ten Hag is five. Those are unbelievable, like world class coaches. And I mean, Arteta
Yep,
is
exactly.
still learning. He's a very
Mm-hmm.
good coach. I think it's harsh because I think last year the top four race was a little easier than it's going to be this year. I think a lot of teams had off years. I think that fourth spot was like a real, it was a real pull. It hurt them a lot this summer that they didn't get top four last year. I think that their window would have been even better. But they did get Jesus, which I think they wouldn't. I thought that they wouldn't have gotten him. He's going to be really good. But I think
He's looked incredible in the preseason.
he has. I think you can seesaw them with United for me. Like I think fifth, sixth. I just think that there's a gap between them and the top four. But
If Arsenal finish sixth or fifth out of the Champions League race, where do you think they are on Arteta?
I think they give him another year, which we've been saying
Give
for
him a
forever. I just think the
oh
top
my
four is
goodness.
so good this year, man. Every team in the top four, the bar might be 77, 78 points. It's that good.
Yeah, and that's the whole Premier League, man. It's every year it's ridiculous.
It is.
The money that comes into this league and out of this league is incredible.
Now I have a feeling you have a certain London team in Europa.
Absolutely. Chelsea, number 5. This team this team is oh my goodness. Let me sit up properly for them. Um Chelsea, all right, I don't think they've had a like I think they're gonna finish the window strong. Obviously, they have unlimited spending power,
No,
which
yeah.
I don't think any team can compete with. Um, but in terms of it doesn't look good when Tuchel comes out and says like these players care more about leaving than they are playing on the field, you know? And then they have a big issue with scoring goals. They don't have a striker. One, they have strikers, but they don't have anyone that can fill that position. I don't think Kai Havertz. I don't think he has a position
He's
in
not a number
any
nine.
system. He's not a number nine. He's. I don't think he's a number 10. I don't think he's can play on any of the wings. Um, but but obviously he's a talented player, but and you paid 80 million pounds for him. Like that's somebody that you need to find a solution for. And they have no clue what to do with Werner.
They're
They
gonna
have
sell him
nothing.
for
They have
sure.
nothing to. Yeah. Um, Captain America is looking to leave. Like all like Chelsea 2 years ago to where they are now, where they finished, they won the Champions League, and that summer they're like Lukaku was guaranteed. He's not there anymore.
No,
He's where like they're obviously last year they were the third best team in the league. But they were gonna be this year. They were supposed to take that next step where they're competing with Liverpool
Man
and Man
City.
City. And I don't. I think they got closer to Man United and Arsenal than they did
I agree.
anywhere near City and Liverpool.
Do you at least rate their signings? Sterling, Koulibaly, and they bring back Gallagher.
I think those are Koulibaly is an all world defender that anybody that even though he's a little bit older, and Napoli's been stingy for the last 3 4 years to sell him. Um, like he's a really good signing. Sterling is a proven winner in the Premier League. He's done it in Europe. He's done it in the Premier League. He's done it for Liverpool. He's done it for Man City, and I think he'll do it for Chelsea. But I don't think you're getting 15 goals out of Sterling. I don't
No,
think and that's what they need. That they have a position of need, and that's a striker. Even though they tried Lukaku, they tried Werner, they tried Havertz. Who else are they going to try? And I don't think they're linked with any striker
other than
uh,
Aubameyang.
other than Aubameyang the last few days. And Aubameyang we've seen in the Premier League. I think he's better than what Lukaku gave them. I think he's a better player than Timo Werner and what we've seen from Aubameyang in January and after. But at the end of the day, Aubameyang is Aubameyang. He was in the Premier League last year, and I think before he left, I think he had less than 10 goals. So you need a proven goal scorer, and I don't see where they get that.
If
You
they
need
get
goals.
Fofana and they go buy a striker, they just signed Cucurella too. I forgot to mention 62 million, which is a crazy, crazy fee. Um,
Absolutely ridiculous.
we'll see. I don't even know like where Cucurella is gonna play. I'm assuming they're gonna rotate him with Chilwell, which is
Hmm.
surprising because
Yeah.
they just signed Chilwell. Um,
And Chilwell is coming off of ACL, so I think they're just buying insurance, basically giving him
62
time.
million is expensive insurance.
Is exactly,
Yeah,
and that's Chelsea for you. They paid 120 million for Lukaku, and loaned him out
for nine.
for what 2% of that.
Yeah.
So I don't I don't think. And then they have a new ownership, so I think they're in a weird stage where their team on paper looks really good. Their coach is really good. They have the spending power. It's just it doesn't fit,
I
and
think
it's gonna
like
take a lot. It's gonna take a lot to overhaul the team.
I think last season, if you were to just sit at the end of the season and say Chelsea's their three biggest needs, it's for me it was a defensive midfielder, a creative midfielder, and a number nine. And I think this summer they did none of that. I think those are still Gallagher. You can say okay, that's fine. He's going to fill the creative midfield role. They still don't have a DM, and Lord knows where they're going to get their goals from.
And Declan Rice looks at home at West Ham. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
think
not going. He's
he's
not
not
going to
even looking
Chelsea.
their way.
No,
Um,
I have them four though. I
that's
think I think that their system where they just play so defensive at times, and I think Tuchel's such a great manager. I
I,
think that they
I'm
can squeak
I'm
four.
telling you, man. I think they've used up all their defender goals last year, man. I don't they the amount of games they've won basically on a Reece James corner header by a defender. Who did they lose to Real Madrid?
Rudiger,
Rudiger.
Rudiger.
I think that's obviously play badly helps, but Rudiger is he's an all world defender, and they're gonna miss him a lot. He's a little bit much better, a little bit better at. He's a more modern ball playing center back, I would say. But they're a defensive team, and I think they can get away with a lot
They get
based
results
on just
just
how yeah, just on
exactly.
how they set up.
I have a feeling you have Arsenal here.
At four?
Yeah.
No, at four I have Tottenham.
Okay, wait. Let's talk about Arsenal first before we go to
Okay.
Tottenham. I want to see what you
All right,
think
so
about Arsenal.
I have Arsenal third. First of all, this is
Wow.
not biased at all. None of what
No
I'm about to
bias.
say.
There's no
None of
opinion, no agenda, nothing.
no agenda, nothing. I think the two the biggest things that Arsenal did over the summer is they got a striker.
Yep.
Um, they got a striker, and then they basically they got depth for positions that they needed depth on. They got left back depth. They got a striker, a true striker, a starting striker in the Premier League, a proven striker in the Premier League. And then they filled up some holes in their midfield. And I think Saliba is obviously he's I don't need to say anything about him. He's a really good player. He proved it last year in League One. But I think the biggest differences are not who they brought in. I think it's one, I trust Mikel Arteta. One, two, I think they have young players, and when you have young players, there's a certain point where they take that step, right? They go from being a young player to a really good player in the Premier League. And
Yeah.
I think Martinelli, Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, Martin Odegaard, all last year were playing at another level, but that was not where they can play at. And I think they take that next step, and that's where I'm. I think everything else guarantees them top four, what they did over the summer, and then top three is what the young players are
So
going to do.
you think
Which
they can get high 70s points wise?
yeah, I think I think they could have did that last year. They just didn't have the goals. I think this year they have the goals. I think um, Jesus, who
Unreal.
I've Pep Guardiola talks up a lot of people. He talks up everybody. But the way he speaks of Gabriel Jesus is says enough. Like that guy, he's a hard worker. He plays hard. He's extremely skilled.
He's so
He can play.
versatile.
He can play anywhere on the field, and that's what you need. And we didn't have that. We had Lacazette last year, and Aubameyang before that.
Like as that, man. Okay, you have Spurs
Lacazette
four.
last year, yeah.
You have
Yeah,
Spurs four. I
I
have
have
them
Spurs four,
three.
yeah. Okay, why do you have them three?
Man, dude, they had such a good summer.
They had
Richarlison,
an incredible summer.
Spence, Longley, Perisic, Basuma. Those are the big five that I've written down, and they barely lost people. And they have Antonio Conte, who's a fantastic league coach.
Excellent league coach.
I mean,
I don't know why they got Champions League last year. They don't
he's
need
not
that.
that good in Europe,
No.
but that front three, Richarlison, Son, and Kane, you can put that up there as maybe better than Liverpool's
He
front three.
he especially what Kane and Son did last year. Kane, obviously the goal scoring is always there every year, but last year he was he was assisting, and he was giving away, like he's a perfect striker. He's as complete of a striker as it gets in football. Um, Richarlison helps with that. I think.
Yeah,
Conte also likes to play with two strikers. I think that would help recreate what he did at Inter with Richarlison
he's
and
bringing in
Kane,
Perisic.
and Perisic. I think Conte is he has everything he needs. It's just City and Liverpool are
They're
on
so much
a
better than the
different
rest.
planet.
Yeah.
They're on a different
I
planet.
was really close to putting Spurs two. The only reason I didn't put them two is because they didn't get a world class center back in the summer. I think if they did, I would put them above Liverpool. I don't think they're
Um,
far. They're a whole city's a whole other tier. Which I mean, spoiler, but I think.
uh, that's not a spoiler at all. They're okay. So So you have okay. Obviously, you have Liverpool second, and
Yes.
I have Liverpool second, and you have Man City first. I have
Yes.
Man City first.
I think the gap will be
Why?
big though. I don't think it'll be
For
1 point.
Man, it's okay. So last year was 1 point. The year before that, it was over 20 points or close to 20 points.
And
And
then
then
the
the year
year
before that,
before,
I think league
Liverpool
Liverpool
won
won.
it, and then the year before
Yeah,
that, it was won again.
it was one again. That was an incredible Premier League
That
season.
that season was
Um,
amazing.
at least it wasn't a good Arsenal season, but the Liverpool and I remember they that season they played in like January and Liverpool was up 2 points and City won that game, so they went up 1 point and they finished the rest of the season.
They just
They
won the
won both
rest.
of them won both of their games, which
Yep.
is
I
ridiculous.
think
And
Liverpool had
and
97 or some ridiculous
yep,
number that season.
yep, and they had 98 or 99, so it
That's
was really close.
crazy. Liverpool, I just think this summer they lost their identity. I watched a couple of their games. The big thing is, I mean, obviously their big loss is Mane. The problem with Liverpool is they built their system around all all the players they bought, like if they fit seamlessly into their system. And Nunez is the first
Hmm.
signing they've had in a long time where they completely overhauled their system. Like Trent is inverting now. Salah has to hold the width on the wing. They really have to play with the
Yep.
number 10 because Nunez is he doesn't really offer that much creatively. I just think that they lost their identity. They're gonna struggle early in the season. I think is where they're gonna have some issues. Um, and
Yeah,
then and
I think they're more like obviously Man City is no question going to be. I think you can run this Premier League table 10 different times. I think 9 of them um Man City finishes number 1, but I think more in more times I think Liverpool is lower closer to 4 than they are to 2.
yeah,
They Mane is that guy is obviously we feel a certain way about Mane. He's an incredible athlete, but like for Liverpool, this run that they're on, I think he's just as important as Salah, just
I
as
think is
important as
more
Van Dijk,
important.
and just as important as Klopp.
Yeah.
They've and he left, and you expect. I don't think Luis Diaz recreates any of that. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's as talented or as much of a goal threat as Mane is.
They lost their president. That was recruiting all their
Yep,
big signings, and Liverpool have had
yep.
this really really unorthodox run where they've hit on their
Hmm.
last like 15 signings. All of them have been
Oh my, they
fantastic.
haven't yeah they have and or I think they got and they sell really well.
Yeah,
Obviously they're in this position of because of who they sold, which is Coutinho. Um, but like even what's his name? Minitao, the
Minamino,
Minamino. They sold him for a good value. They
20.
got 15 20 they bought him and he didn't play that well for them and they moved on quickly.
Yeah,
I think that's something clubs need to do. I think once you see a player not fitting into what you're running, especially with a coach like Klopp who is only going to leave if he wants to leave. Um, I think you just move on, and I think they did that with and they extended Salah, which is really good.
yeah.
Gave him 3 years, um, and they
His
extended Gomez.
his technical ability is going to be called into question this year. Salas. He's going to
Salah,
have to do a lot more technically.
I think he's going to get his numbers, obviously, um, because he's an all world player,
He is.
but I think he's going to be asked to carry a team, and I don't think Mane. I don't think he can do that without Mane.
Without Mane, yeah, okay. And we both have City winning the league, which I think is no surprise. I think they're just a tier
Absolutely
above
not.
everyone else. Absolutely not.
They
Yeah,
are they are the most perfectly run club in all of the world. I think they have the best roster in the world. There's nothing you could say wrong about them. They're a perfectly set up team, and that's what you expect from from a Pep Guardiola run team.
yeah. I mean,
What
Haaland.
do you obviously Holland, yeah. What do you think of him? You saw him live. What do you
I
think of
did, I
Holland?
did. I saw him against Bayern. I mean, the thing that surprised me was just how big he was physically. That was the thing
Mm-hmm.
that really surprised me. I mean, he's going to be bigger than like 80% of the center halves he plays this season. Like, He was
Yep.
the biggest player on the field, which is really really rare for someone as fast as he does. Obviously, the injury concerns worry me, but they have Alvarez. They picked him up, and he
Yeah.
played the whole second half against Bayern that I watched. He was good.
Yep.
They were about to get Cucurella, but I mean that fell through. They got Calvin Phillips literally to play backup DM. Um,
Exactly.
they
And
filled their needs so well.
he's a little bit overqualified for that, but what can you? Their whole roster is a bunch of players who are overqualified for
Their
their
B
roles,
team,
and
I think,
that's
could make top four.
and 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 um and obviously I think Holland is. I think Holland chose. I there was two prospects this year, right? We can talk about it now. I think you're over it a little bit,
I
right?
am
There's Mbappe and Holland, right?
not
Those
the
are the
first one. The first name I'm not over, but the second one I'm over
okay. So
it.
I think Holland chose Holland chose the perfect situation for him in
He
a
did.
team where like seven of the 11 players on the pitch are talented and can create a chance for you at any moment. And he's a finisher. He's a finisher through and through. I think Pep is gonna ask him a little bit more, but I think that's just Pep. I think that's gonna take him a year or two. But I think the goals naturally come just from being who he is.
20 goals, you think?
He's um I th- I think he over 20 easily. I think over 20 is might be a disappointment for him. Basically, if he plays bad, I think he gets at 20. But if he plays up to his level, I think he can put
Sky's
up
the
absurd
limit.
numbers.
If he stays healthy, sky's the limit. Because their whole team, they have so many good playmakers: Foden, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. We'll see if he stays or he leaves. Rodri. Um,
Yeah, and then now I think over the last few years they've been having center back partnership problems. I think Diaz has obviously like planted himself as the number one, but like I think Laporte played excellent last year, and then the year before that was
John
Stones.
Stones.
But I think now they're set. They're obviously their two wing backs are what's his name, Kyle Walker and Cancelo are all
Yeah.
world. Even
Mm-hmm.
though Cancelo didn't look too good against Liverpool, but what we saw what he did last year, I don't think you can question anything unless it stays consistent over the next few months. But
Yeah.
he was playing like the best player in the world for like 3 months. So
He was.
I think they're set at every position. They're set at every position on the bench. They're set at coach. They're set at everything. I think
I
I don't
don't
know
think
what
it'll
you I
be
don't know what more you
challenging.
can say.
And
I
I'm
I,
I'm
I think they and I think this is the year I think they win the Champions League. Um
really.
I if it it's between them and PSG for me. But if Grealish settles in and is the player who we expected him to be,
Yeah.
I don't think they have like now I would because they have Foden and Grealish. But I think if they can both play at how they play, they're unstoppable.
Grealish is the one to watch out for sure, and yeah, they're gonna
And
go
and
deep in
and
Champions League for
and
sure.
and now I think what you get five
Five
subs
subs.
in all competitions.
Yeah,
Yeah. So and that doesn't benefit anybody
more than
more than Man
City.
City. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, I think it'll be. Here's how it goes, and I always say this every season, just as an outsider. I think they always start the
mhm.
season a little slow. I think people
So
tend
of
to
course.
overreact. I think people say, "Oh, blah blah blah, City. This isn't their year. They're slowing down," and then they just hit this run like 15, 20 games in where they go on this ridiculous streak. I think last year was 14. A couple years ago, I think it was 18 straight wins or 17. Just mid-season when these teams are,
Yep.
especially this season with the World Cup in the middle, where teams, they start to have injuries and City just rotate. And like I remember the
Hmm.
season they made the Champions League final, they would play their A team in Champions League in the games against PSG in the semis, for example. And then I remember they'd go to the weekend and they'd play their B
Yep.
team and they would not miss a step because their B team from top to bottom would just be world class.
Is exactly. Yeah, you're right. I think like I don't I'm they're they're the number one team in the country
For sure.
and and in the world. I think obviously Champions League is big for them. I think that's they've 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 made the Premier League into nothing. Like the Premier League has become obviously it's a little bit more competitive, but in terms of who wins the league, like it's basically what Premier League fans say about every other league. Man City has a chokehold on this league, and I think they're not satisfied. They need a Champions League win
I think that's why Pep
to
stayed.
no. I think 2 years ago he said he was going to leave after this year, but I don't think he can leave
I don't
without a
think he leaves
Champions League.
until he wins one. Yeah, I agree with you.
But we need him out of the league as soon as possible. Get him out of there. I'm
Five
tired,
and
man.
this is what if he wins this year, is it 6-7 or 5-6?
5-6 this year. It's 4-5 right now,
That's crazy.
bro. You're seeing players like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus and Sterling go to other teams, and they're like, oh, they've won 4 of the last 5 Premier Leagues, and you're like, huh?
And they're
Like
world class and they
that's
come off the bench. Think about
and
Jesus and Zinchenko are
that's a
their
really
with their
thing, yeah.
B team last season.
And you haven't mentioned Riyad Mahrez, who's
Unreal.
what can you say?
What?
You're Algerian. I don't know. You can talk about him.
Unbelievable. I hope he plays more of the big games because last season he's so good in big games. I really wanted him to go to Madrid this summer, but it wasn't possible because of the we have some registration things.
I yeah, you guys had that with a few players.
Yeah,
Jesus
sadly,
too.
Jesus. I know, man. That
Yeah.
was the one. But I mean, anything you're really looking forward to next season, other than Arsenal, probably. I mean,
Um, Arsenal. Depending on how tomorrow goes,
that's true. That's true.
depending depending on how tomorrow goes, my mood for the season will be. But I'm obviously Holland. I think like for him to come to the Premier League is like a big statement.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's considered to be one of the best strikers in the world. He's only what 22, 22, 23. He's 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 a kid, and the position he's in is you can't say nothing about it, but applaud his talent and Man City for doing what they did. And thanks to him, we got Gabriel Jesus, so I can't complain.
That's true. I'm the teams. I want to see how Liverpool adapt. I mean, I think City.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna miss a beat after the first couple games. Arsenal. I'm really excited to watch Arsenal. I really want to see how they do and how they start their season. Um, and Newcastle. Newcastle is the one I want to see how their new signings do. I want to see if they can really push it for Europe. That's the next step, and what they do in January. Obviously, the World Cup is gonna throw a wrench in the season. There's going to be a lot of injuries this year, a lot of compressed games, a lot of rotation more than other seasons. So it's going to be really interesting to see how teams adapt, especially the top 6, because they're going to have the most players on international duty. So
Yep, and a team like City, this is where no one competes with them because
Yep.
they have 10 other players on the bench that are just as good as any other big sixes
it's crazy.
starting
And
11. So no, go ahead.
no, yeah, I was about to say it's crazy. They're about to probably get a left back. My guess is with Cucurella going to Chelsea and Zinchenko out the door, they're probably going to go look for one more. So, who
Any
knows?
any any signings that aren't done that you would like to see be finished from this summer summer?
I'm curious to see where Ronaldo goes. I want to see what
Mhm.
Leicester do. Obviously, Tielemans and Fofana. If they lose both those guys, then we're going to be having
Yep.
a very different conversation on where they finish in the league.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how that top 7. I think we have the same teams in the top 7. A lot of people have those 7. I'm just curious to see how, what that looks like.
Yeah, I think the I don't obviously City was gonna run away with this, but I think 2-5. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than
Yes.
what people would expect usually.
Yeah.
I think Man United, especially with Ten Hag, their potential is high. I would say. I think he's an excellent coach. He's a demanding coach, which is something these players have lacked for the last few years. I think obviously Ole is a nice guy, but I think there was like they could do whatever they wanted on the pitch, on anything.
Not a serious coach.
Not a serious coach, obviously. And Ten Hag has looked like he's built for this. I think calling out Ronaldo is the right thing to do at now. You got to set the tone for the season. Um, and I think obviously we root for all these. Well, no, we don't. I lied. I'm sorry. I do not root for any
You do
Man
not root for
United
Spurs.
players.
You definitely do not root for Man
No,
United.
United. Yeah, no. But I would like to see obviously Rashford and Sancho and Varane, not Maguire. I would like to see those players play to their level. I think that makes the league a little bit better.
Couple.
Maguire's just ass.
Yeah, he
Excuse my
is.
language. He's
No, you're
finished.
good. There's a couple games in the schedule. I'm excited to see West Ham and Man City. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Lampard plays Chelsea to open.
Ah.
Obviously, we kick off the season tomorrow with Crystal Palace and Arsenal, and
Mm-hmm.
Fulham open against Liverpool, Tottenham, Southampton. I might as well read all the fixtures, right? Newcastle, Nottingham,
Yeah,
Leeds,
that's a good
Wolverhampton.
game. That
Yeah. Manchester United open against Brighton, Leicester, Brentford. Yeah, there's good games on the slate. I think the first one and the last one are the ones I'm gonna have be paying the most attention on. West Ham, Man City, and Crystal Palace, Arsenal. Those are the two I'm really looking forward to.
and then give me a prediction for tomorrow for Arsenal, Crystal
Hmm.
Palace.
Ooh, I'm gonna say 1-1.
Oh.
At Crystal Palace is a hard place to play, man. If is Elise out tomorrow?
I haven't seen anything about the like anything out yet, but
He's
um,
questionable.
I
If
think
Elise
they're.
plays, 1-1. If he doesn't, give me 2-1 Arsenal.
I think tomorrow is the start of something beautiful, man.
What's his score? What's his score? I need to know the
It's the
score.
start of something beautiful. I think Arsenal are gonna win 3-1.
Okay.
Um, and I think it's gonna be a statement win.
Okay.
Um, and obviously we have a very easy schedule to start. We always get stuck with playing City or Liverpool or Tottenham or Chelsea in the first month of the season. I think this year, for the first time in probably 3 years, we have winnable games. I think our first 5 games we could win. And I always say, like, however you start the season, I think that determines how you finish. And last year we started what, 0 goals, zero
Nine
wins, -9 goal difference, and then we missed out on Champions League by
by
two
one.
points.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think we need to prioritize these next 5 games, and obviously, one or two more signings. Tielemans would be a dream, and I think it gets done. I think it gets done.
You think so? Okay. All
I
right.
think I think Tielemans is at Arsenal by the time we speak. No, actually, no, not by next week, but in end of August, I think he'll be at Arsenal.
We'll see. So next week, obviously, we'll talk about this match day. We'll talk about the other leagues, the other four,
Yep.
and we'll start to look forward to Champions League. It's been a
Yes, sir.
good first episode, and obviously there's gonna be some
And the World
clips.
Cup, World Cup
Uh-huh.
season. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
there's gonna be some clips that we're gonna return to this at the end of the season, and either we're gonna say we're right or we're gonna
20 for
say we're
20.
horribly wrong. 20 for 20. All right,
I
we're
mean,
going on a limb.
20 for 20. I'm 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 so confident in this table, I think.
That's how
I
I
should go
feel
put
every season,
I
man.
I should go put $20 down on FanDuel or something.
Yeah, I might
No,
I
I'm
might
kidding.
have.
Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah.
Man, if I could bet, I would put my house on City to win the league.
I
So
I
I swear.
I have this thing where um anytime I like do something wrong before our Arsenal game, like
Hmm.
that's gonna be the reason why they lost.
Hmm.
So right now I said I'm gonna gamble. So
So if they lose, you're gonna blame this.
yeah, pretty much exactly.
Yeah,
So, but I'm looking forward to this season, man.
as well.
Looking forward to talking to you some more
Yeah,
weekly,
absolutely.
hopefully.
It's good stuff.
So this is the start of something special.
It
Welcome,
is. It
welcome
is.
everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys have a good one, and thank you so much. All right.
All right, take care.